I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on practice test questions to get into good universities. Now we have set of 4 quadratic equations related questions. We'll begin with simple questions and then add complexity to it to prepare you and get better marks. First question here is, which of the following represents factor of the equation with roots at x equals to 4 over 5 and x equals to minus 3 over 4? Well, any quadratic equation with 2 roots could be written as y equals to a times x minus x1 times x minus x2. Since we are given 2 roots, we could write this as x minus 4 over 5, that's the first root, x minus becomes plus 3 over 4, right? So you could also write this as a times 5x minus 4 times 4x plus 3, correct? Now, obviously we have taken 5 times 4, 20 outside. But normally, when we write this equation, we kind of write direct. That is to say, we kind of write this as y equals to a times 5x minus 4 times 4x plus 3. Since a is a constant, right? So a over 20 or some other a, it doesn't really matter. Now that becomes a family of curves. Now the question here is, with 4 options, we see that 5x minus 4, 4x plus 3 is a common factor. So that becomes the solution. Now a could have any value, correct? That is important to understand. So this was only to give you a background. Normally if you have the roots, this is a straightforward question which should be answered in few seconds, right? Question number 2. Which of the following represents value of x that are solution of inequality x squared plus 5x less than 6? So let's look into this. We have x squared plus 5x is less than 6. Bring 6 to the left side, we get x squared plus 5x minus 6 is less than 0. You could factor product of 6 and 1. Since we have minus 6 here, right? So we get x plus 6 times x minus 1 less than 0. Now it's a good idea to sketch this parabola which opens upwards, correct? And its roots are at minus 6 and 1, right? Its roots are at minus 6 and 1. We want this to be less than 0. That option is missing here. So let me add an option E here. So it should have been minus 6 and 1. So that is the right answer. It is this portion where the graph is less than 0, right? So I hope that makes sense. Perfect. So normally the y-axis will be here. This will be x-axis. That is how your graph is going to be. So option E, which I missed from here, is the right answer between minus 6 and 1. Perfect. Question number 3. Only solution of equation x squared plus mx plus n equals to 0 is minus 3. Find the value of n. That means we have to find this value. You can actually pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. Now this is a very interesting question. We are given only one solution. That means it should be x, and this is the only root. That means it's the double root, right? So x minus minus 3 becomes the quadratic equation for us. Now when you expand this, you get x squared plus 2ab, which is 6x, plus 3 squared, which is 9. So that is the quadratic equation which we are looking for. Now here you know, if you compare m equals to 6 and n equals to 9, so the option C is the right option. So it is kind of tricky at times. You need to understand, when we say only one solution, that means we have a double root at x equals to minus 3. Perfect. So that is important to understand. Otherwise, you might just get confused about it. Now here is question number 4. Now this is a very difficult question. Let's see how to solve it. Sum of areas of two squares is 468 meters square. If difference of their perimeter is 24, then side length of one of the squares is what? Correct? You can actually pause the video, try to answer this question, then look into my suggestions. So we are given two different squares, right? So let us say this is one square and the other square is slightly bigger than this. Sum of their areas, which is, let's say, A1 and A2, is 468. So we know that A1 plus A2 equals to 468. If I choose X as the sides of A1, then the area is X square, right? So this area is X square. Now how do I get sides for the second square? That is kind of tricky to figure out. Now for that, we are given that the perimeter is 24 more, right? So for this square, perimeter is 24 more. So for A2, perimeter of the second will be 4x plus 24, right? 24 more than this. Perimeter of the first square will be 4x. You get an idea. If that is the perimeter, then what is going to be the side length for each? Side length will be 4x plus 24 divided by 4. Perfect. So which gives us x plus 6. So each side in this case is x plus 6. Now this is very important to understand how we got it. Perfect. So go through it once again. Since the perimeter is 24 more than this first one, perimeter of the first one is 4x, 4 times x. This is 24 more. So we get new perimeter of 24 plus 4x. What should be the side length? 1/4 of the perimeter. So 4x plus 24 divided by 4 gives you the side length x plus 6. So the area will be, you have to add x plus 6 whole square and the equation becomes 468. Do you get the idea? So that is how you actually get your equation. And now you have to solve it to find x. So we get x square plus expand this, x square plus 2ab, which is 12x, plus 6 square, which is 36, equals to 468. Bring all the terms together. So 2x square plus 12x minus, because we'll have to take away, right? So we'll take away 36 from here. So we get 468 minus 36. So that becomes 432 equals to 0. Now we could factor out 2. So if I factor out 2, I get x square plus 6x minus 216 equals to 0. Now we need to factor. So we are looking for sum and product to get 6 as our difference. So one method is to use prime factorization. That's a very effective method I want to share with you. So you could divide this by, let us say 4, we can divide this, right? So 4 times 5 is 20, 4 times 4 is 16. Now 54, we could divide this by, let's say 2. So if I divide by 2, 2 times 2 is 4, we get 27. Now we are looking for difference of two numbers to be 6. Now that doesn't give you. So 9 times 3 is 27. So now we could combine 9 and 2, which gives us 18, and 4 and 3, which gives us 12. Do you see that? So 12 and 18 works for us. So their difference is 6. So we could write this as 2 times x, since we need bigger number to be positive, right? So plus 18 times x minus 12 equals to 0. So that gives you one real solution, which is x equals to 12. The other one in this case is minus 18. But 12 is not the option. Do you see that part? 12 is not the option. So that means we are given here the dimensions of bigger square, not the smaller one. We began with x. So what we found that x is 12. We found x is 12. So s could be 12 plus 6, which is 18. And therefore, option D is the right option. So we actually got the dimensions for the bigger square from the given options. Do you see that part? So that is how this type of question can be solved. So in a test of 60 questions, normally there will be 5 tricky questions. This is one of those. I hope that makes sense. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. And if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.